Welcome back for another video. In today's video I'll be running through the Gameweek 21 team selection, transfer plans and thoughts heading into this game week. If you missed the Gameweek 21 episode of the roundup, make sure you give that a watch too, a link will be on screen at the end. A quick thank you to the newest YouTube members: Lucky, Munanura, AMA4, Niall, Vazita, Mo, Per, FPL Phillips, Brew, RC Rocha, Somnath, Albi Sadie and Paul. If you'd like to support me by becoming a YouTube member too, a link's in the description, which includes early access to videos and a private channel on the Discord where I'll give team feedback. Lastly, if you'd like to follow my team throughout the season, make sure you're subscribed. A quick look back at how Gameweek 20 went. 36 points all out. It was a rough game week where very little went right. Salah's score of 0 points was the first time he'd failed to score a point in a game in 177 appearances. James went off injured and could be out for 6 weeks minimum. We had 6 starting back in Gameweek 19, so part of the free hit strategy was to jump on Ronaldo last game week and get Salah back this game week, which could have gone much worse with a single point from the last 2 captains. As it happens, those who sold Salah for Son or Ronaldo came out on top, so congrats if you were one of them. Foden was the only highlight this game week, getting 11 points in the win against Brentford. We brought in De Gea, who conceded a single goal, to Lennon, whose last goal was in 2018. Very unfortunate in an otherwise comfortable win for United. Fortunately, it was only a red arrow from first to second, but the team is in bad shape and some surgery required, so a hit or two required too. With that in mind, onto the Gameweek 21 team selection and transfer plans. De Gea starts again for the match against Wolves. Wolves have scored just once in their last 6 matches, and over that period ranked rock bottom on expected goals with an XG of just 1.49. The decision was made to get both De Gea and Ramsdale just in case of any unexpected postponements or absences, so it's a little bit of peace of mind to have 2 playable keepers. Trent faces Chelsea away this game week. Liverpool travel to Stamford Bridge off the back of a 1-0 loss to Leicester, and this will be a huge game for both teams in their season's hopes. Man City are already 8 points clear of Chelsea, though Liverpool sit 9 behind with a game in hand. It could be a cagey game which might suit Trent if that's the case. Cancelo travels to the Emirates this game week to face Arsenal. He kept his 11th clean sheet of the season in the game against Brentford, which is the most among any defender. He shared a pretty sickening post on Instagram showing that he'd been attacked and robbed while with his family. It's awful news, and City reportedly will have to make a decision on whether he travels to the game or not. It would be no surprise and understandable if he sits this one out. Livramento missed the last match, though the hope is that he'll be back in time for this one. The match against Newcastle has been postponed, so as it stands he has a blank, though there's a possibility that they play Brentford later in the game week as a single game week. At this point nothing official has been announced, but he gets the nod for now. He may drop to first on the bench depending on the transfer plans for the game week. As it stands, Salah gets the armband, though this is likely to change if we get double game week news. He was the biggest XG underperformer in Gameweek 20, failing to score with an XG of 1.69. It was remarkable variance, and on another day he could have had more, certainly if he converted his penalty. He's being strongly considered as a transfer out this game week, which we'll discuss later. Jota also had chances in the Leicester game, and the hope is that he gets the nod for this one too. Over the last 6 game weeks, no player has a higher expected goals than Jota's 3.42. After this game week, both Salah and Mane depart for the African Cup of Nations, so he looks to be completely nailed in their absence, though you could question how this will affect Jota's attacking output with Liverpool's defence significantly weakened. Foden put in a sensational performance against Brentford and got the winner, though he's one player who may make way this game week. Man City are the only team not to have a postponed fixture, so as it stands they don't have any guaranteed double game weeks on the horizon. Rafinha comes back into the team, who was another player we lost in Gameweek 20 through a postponement. There's not been any further news on the fixture against Burnley, so as it stands the game is on. He scored 3 goals and picked up an assist in his last 5 matches played, and he could be a differential to consider if you don't own him, considering Leeds have 2 postponements of their own to reschedule. The captaincy and vice captaincy is still up in the air depending on whether we get a double game week 21. Watford are one team we could even have a double game week in both game weeks. Watford's postponed fixtures are Burnley, Crystal Palace and Wolves, which are very reasonable games, and you could make the case for a double up on King and Dennis, which we'll get to shortly. Antonio was the second highest XG underperformer of Gameweek 20 after Salah, failing to score with an XG of 0.63. He too could have a double game week at some point in the next 2, but this game week his fixture is away to Crystal Palace. It could be a tough game as Palace have looked defensively solid, and over the course of the season they're 5th best for expected goals conceded. Lacazette completes the 11, though he has the Man City game and he's on the chopping block. Arsenal have Tottenham in Gameweek 22 also, and a couple of blanks on the horizon, so in my case both him and Smith Rowe are players that need to leave the team soon. On the bench it's Ramsdale, Alonso, Smith Rowe and James. Chelsea's clean sheet odds are low, so we hope not to require the bench, though Smith Rowe could be benched once again for Martinelli, therefore Alonso goes first in the order. In terms of transfer plans, it's difficult to say yet as we don't know whether there'll be a double Gameweek 21 or 22, and likewise what those fixtures might be. There's a couple of options being considered. The first is Lacazette to Dennis and Foden to Son. The news from today is that Dennis is not in Nigeria's African Cup of Nations squad. We may not get the full picture, but it's very unusual for him to be excluded at the last minute when they signalled their intention to include him. Therefore Dennis looks a good option considering the double game weeks too, and Son also looks like a must-have. The other option being considered is Lacazette to Kane, Salah to Son and James to Target. This would be a -8 but would set the team up nicely for Game Week 21 and a potential double game for Spurs and Villa in Game Week 22. As always, I'll post my final team on the channel and on Twitter. If you'd like to follow my team throughout the season, make sure you're subscribed. But for now, that concludes today's video. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments how your Game Week 20 went and what your plans are for Game Week 22. I read every comment, so if you enjoyed the video, let me know. Lastly, please remember to like the video and hit subscribe to support the channel.